गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, verse number 270. I think 270. Uncle, 270? Ah. And here, Jnaneshwar Maharaj is again and again telling us the only thing or material that is there is the self. And this whole world is nothing but the sport of the self. Just like all the waves are the sport of the water, similarly this entire world is the sport of the self. Oh, then what happens to you said the whole world is, we only know it as thoughts, and in all the thoughts appear only in the mind, and mind is, I am not the mind. What happened to that? But we also said consciousness with thoughts is mind, and you are the conscious self. In that conscious self, when it plays with itself as if the waves the waves appear, and those waves are this whole world. That's how. From the waters, last week we also said, from the water's point of view, there are no waves. Similarly, from the self point of view, there is no world. Yet, when we consider ourselves to be a part of this world, then it seems that we have to reach the self, which is somewhere. We feel we are bound by something, but when we come to abide in the self as the self, then from that point of view, everything is one homogeneous mass of consciousness. There is nothing else other than that divinity. How ridiculous it is to call pure consciousness the one which illumines everything as ignorance. It's a totally different view he is taking. We say that the self is illuminating all the thoughts. In your presence, the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper are coming and going, isn't it? This is what we say at one level. But here Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying how ridiculous it is to say that the self is revealing the objectivity. How is that possible? If it is all that there is, how can it reveal? How can it illuminate? Let's see how it unfolds. आत्मा प्रकाशी ते अज्ञान ऐसे म्हणणे हना तरी निधी वा दावीते अंजना न म्हणिजे काई. Don't we call it ajnana, anjana, black soot over a flame, which gives the special vision to see the hidden underground treasures? So also, if someone calls the self-illumined Atman as ignorance, we accept it. If someone calls let's see what it is talking about. The Atman, the pure consciousness, the illuminator of everything, of which creation is the manifestation, can be accepted to be called as ignorance. Don't we call the soot, kajal or anjana as the giver of divine vision, which helps in discovering the hidden wealth? It is in this light we accept when it is said that creation, the play of consciousness, is the creation of ignorance. You think about it. It's just an example that is taken. 270.
Huh?
270.
Okay, thank you.
How absurd it is to do so is stated through an example. Suvarna Gaura Ambika Namanize Tase Kaya Kalika Taisa Atma Prakashaka Ajnanavada. Don't we call the yellow golden idol of the goddess Kalika as Kali, black? Similarly, we accept calling Atma as ignorance. Aye, beautiful. So beautifully he's putting it. So he's now qualifying the previous statement that uh, when it is said that creation, the play of consciousness, is the creation of ignorance. Huh? See, there are different, from different standpoints or terminology. From point of Ishvara, there is Prakriti. No, from Ishvara, it is Maya. That is his potentiality. From Purusha, Purusha means consciousness, the Supreme Person. It is Prakriti, matter. Consciousness versus matter. Ishvara and Maya. Individual mind. Knowledge, the pure consciousness, and with that comes ignorance. So whether you say Maya becomes Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Prakriti is space, air, fire, water, earth, or ignorance is Ajnana, Kama, Karma, all these are just talking about the same thing in a different way. That's all. But we have seen, maybe not here, in other places, where the Maya or the Prakriti is nothing but the potentiality of the divine, isn't it? So Brahman and ignorance. So it is the potentiality. So how can it be, if something has come out of that reality, how can it be of a contrary nature? Even though we are using the word ignorance and we are given it so much connotation, and we say ignorance has then appeared as space, air, fire, water, blah, 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 blah. We keep on talking about it. Here Dhaneshwar Maharaj is saying that how can anything coming out of or express, which is the expression of that pure consciousness or the reality, how can it be other than the reality? It cannot be possible. Again, his attempt is so that we do not get caught up in a concept. we come to see that this self, which is of the nature of auspiciousness, is alone expressing as this entire world, which we must not become afraid of. Oh, it is ignorance, it is ignorance. No. It is also auspicious. It is also divine. But develop that vision to see that divine. Develop that vision to see the whole world as an expression of the self. The idol of Kali, who is called so because she is black, is made of gold. But because of the golden color of the gold, we do not stop calling the Kali the black one. In the same way, someone calling the world as the creation of Maya does not make it so. No, the world is the creation of divine presence. World is the creation of divine presence. In fact, there is nothing else other than that divine presence everywhere. Let us focus the attention on the divine truth that I is, and not allow the mind to be bogged down with the load of the life. The perception of duality is the load which one should learn to remove so that one can sleep in the waking state. This is the state of self realization. Existence is the reality. He, the truth, should be known as Asti and also as he really is the self, uh, Tattva Bhavena, Kathopanishad. And those who say that there is nothing like Brahman, he himself becomes a non existent. So, first part, focus on the truth. Today's meditation was also something like that only. Come, the only way we can bring about this transformation in our perception of the world is not by thinking about the world. You can, for lifetimes, you can keep looking at the world and say this world is divine, this world is divine. It will never turn out to be so. The journey is inside out, not outside in. And therefore, we have to focus on the self, contemplate on the self. And when we come to abide in the self, as the self, this transformation in the vision comes about. And then, second point, and those who say that there is nothing like Brahman. So, those who say there is nothing called self, this is just like it is, and those who don't want to, non-believers, then if they say that spirit is not, then they become non-existent. If you are not then spirit, then who is? Ghost is functioning from here or what? That is not so. There is some intelligent principle who's even saying that I am not is also said by some intelligent person. That intelligence is the pure consciousness. That intelligence is the self. That intelligence is the reality of the nature. And its expression, that expression of that reality are these words, are these ideas, concepts, emotions, thoughts. At one level we say anything that comes and goes is non-reality, it is ephemeral, it is matter, isn't it? But here Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying that whatever comes and goes is also nothing but the reality. Just because waves are coming and going, do they stop being water? Do they stop being water? No. So if thoughts are coming and going, bodies are coming and going, cells are coming and going, breath is coming and going, everything is that one reality alone. Because proper thinking will show that everything is illumined by pure consciousness. What does it say there? Yervi Shivauni Prithvi Vari Tattvat Siyat Vane Pari Zayaca Rashmi Kari Uzhalayeti. In fact, all the tattvas from Shiva up to earth are all illumined by him. From the Shiva up to Pancha Mahabhutas, the grossest one being the Prithvi, that is earth, the total creation from the creator to the created is because of the divine presence. From Shiva up to the earth, it is the same tattva, the same essence, that which is pervading everything, including time, space, and object. It is because of this consciousness that everything is existing. We may give a word to water called a bubble, or a river, or a froth, or a wave, or a tide, or a tsunami. But the fact remains that everything is water alone. Similarly, We may give it the name Prakriti, we may give it the name space, air, fire, water, earth. But the fact remains that the names that we are giving to, in essence, is nothing but the Shiva Tattva. Shiva, the auspiciousness itself, the divine auspiciousness itself. That alone is, other than that, nothing else is. On to that, it to that divine auspicious, just like other people, someone calls you mother, someone calls you sister, someone calls you wife. To the same person, people are giving names, isn't it? Whether someone calls you mother, you feel you are, you never feel anything else. Someone calls you wife, you don't find, Acha, where is the wife within me? You don't go looking for her. She's there only. Someone says daughter, still you are the same. Similarly, this Shiva, the divine auspiciousness, it alone is, we can't even use the word, it is pervading the whole world. That word pervading the whole world comes when we consider ourselves to be the body, we consider ourselves to be a part of this world, and we are seeing, oh, there is pure consciousness, there is that reality called Shiva, and this is the world, and he is pervading. How is he pervading? If you look at this whole thing objectively, it will not work. You have to take that Shiva Tattva to be the conscious self. And from subjectively, when you look at the whole world, then it may click. Then only it may click. And then that entire Shiva Tattva, whether you call it by different names, body, breath, mind, intellect, space, air, fire, water, earth, people, things, objects, it does not matter. But everything is that Shiva alone. And that Shiva is not other than the self that I am, come to abide in the self. That itself is the Shiva Tattva. That itself is the divine presence. That itself is the divine auspiciousness. How this is so is explained again through an example by Jnaneshwar Maharaj. And he says, Zene Jnana Sagnana Hoye Drudha Satra Drushtite Viye Prakashaya Divo Pahe Prakashasi. It is because of this Atma Tattva that the intellect has the capacity of knowledge and comprehension. All the faculties are enlivened, and it is this effulgence that sees the light. Very similar to what I have just been explaining, that inside and outside of any object, any sense organ, any organ of action, anything in this world, inside also is that Shiva, outside is also that Shiva. There is nothing else other than that Shiva. That because of which the intellect has the capacity to comprehend that which is the light of the light, that is that which is expressing as the light in the sun is the one which is also expressing as the light in the eyes, and because of which the whole world is seen. That is the Shiva Tattva, that is the divine auspiciousness, and that I am. Now don't look, oh, because of whom the world is seen, oh, because of the sun the world is seen. But that light principle in the sun, this is how the beauty of our Vedas is. Whatever is in the macro, that is in the micro. So they are removing the distance that you may imagine between the micro and the macro. If you see a huge universe out there in the dark, on a dark night, with all the, oh my God, it's so And this is only a teeny part called Milky Way, the galaxy. Such a huge universe is there. Yeah, it may be there. How can I? They tell us that the entire universe is within your body. You can. So when they say, how is that so? Then they say, okay, the sun is your right eye. The light in the sun is the same light which is expressing through the vision in your right eye. The light of the moon, that is your left eye. And this way, different gods, different potentialities, the productive potentials in the universe, uh, all of them are represented within this body. So instead of being overwhelmed by this huge universe, now it is workable when you come to this micro and you can, oh, all this is here only. Okay, I didn't know that. Now, how do I go beyond this? How do I see that this whole thing is illumined by that one reality? See, something which is close, you can work on it. Something is so you feel you're only a teeny mini in the whole universe. How can you control the whole universe? But when you see the whole universe expressed in your own body, then you can, and you know, this is something that I can handle. Universe I cannot handle. And therefore this divine consciousness is that because of which all these things in the world are seen. By whom, willed and directed, does the mind light up its objects? Something to contemplate upon. Kene shitam patati preshitaha manaha. You are not making the thoughts come in your mind. You are not making the breath go in and out. You are not making the hunger come. You are not making the pressure come. You are not consciously thinking and making your eyes blink. You are not making your hair and nails grow. Who is making all this happen? If you are not thought about it, then there must be some intelligent principle who is making all this happen. That is that divine consciousness, and that you are. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yada. That which is the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind, intellect of the intellect, that because of which the intellect is able to express its intelligence, the senses are able to express their faculties. That is that one reality, that is that divine consciousness, that is that presence that you are. If this Shiva Tattva leaves this body, meaning the self leaves the body, eye will not be able to see, ears will not be able to hear, mind will not be able to feel, intellect will not be able to think. Everything, blood will not be able to flow, nose will not be able to breathe. The whole machinery shuts down. Not only shuts down, that which has gone into making this machinery goes back to its source. Isn't it?
What does back to its source?
The material that out of which the machinery is made, that also goes back to its source. So what is that? When we use the word dharma, many places it comes. Dharma means what? That because of which a thing is a thing. That is the dharma of that. So what is that because of which you are you? What is that because of which sugar is sweet? Sugar is sugar. It's the sweetness. If there is no sweetness in the sugar, then you cannot call it sugar, isn't it? Then it will just be a crystal. But because it is sweetness is there, what is that because of which water is water? Because of its to give, because water is able to give taste. Therefore it is, and it is liquid. So what is that because of which sun is sun? Because of the heat and light. If heat and light are not there, sun cannot be called a sun. So what is that because of which you are you? If removed from you, you will no longer exist, you will no longer be as you are. It is, and that principle which is making you as you is that Shiva Tattva, is that self, is that divine consciousness, is that divine presence. Come to be that. Don't just think about it, be that. And the more you remain with that, to that extent your vision slowly will transform when you look out towards the world. So where is the question of ignorance? Te kone nikrishte davile ajnana tseni bote na tame surya mote bandhidanike. Which ignorant fool calls this self-effulgent Atman as ignorance? Who can pack the sun in a bag of darkness? Pure consciousness, which is expressing as the seen, the instrument of seeing, and as the seer of the seen, which deluded fool calls this pure consciousness, which is throbbing with the total existence, as ignorance. Ignorance means absence of knowledge. How can that which is absent create that which is present?
That's a good one.
Yes, beautiful. How can that which is absent create something that which is present? Can we pack the sunlight in a bag of darkness? Both the darkness and the light exist simultaneously in the sun itself, in self-cancellation. In the same way, I, the pure consciousness, is the substratum of the knower and the known. From me, the subject-object relationship is born in every intellect, in every subject-object. There is a common denominator functioning through every being and thing, chara and achara. Huh? So, this conscious principle itself is borrowing to everyone, just like water is borrowing itself to every wave. It's just a language that is used, and because it has borrowed itself to every wave, it has not become less. And if that wave goes away, it has not become more. Whether the wave is there or not there, water is complete at any given moment. Similarly, this divine consciousness is also complete at any given moment. Because it is illuminating, oh, the power is becoming less. No. Now it needs charging. So go to sleep. No, it is not like that. So even this subject-object relationship is born in every subject-object. There is a common denominator. And that common denominator is what? It is the I, the Shiva Tattva. How do we know? You call yourself I, she calls herself I, everyone calls themselves I. So that I is the common denominator. And it is not one per person. It is not one per person. Imagine, just imagine, if every organ or every limb in your body, hand says I am, left hand says I am, leg says I am, eyes say I am, head says I am. They are all saying, all of them have different functions, all of them have different, shape. Each one of says, I am independent, I am other, I have got my individuality other than the left hand. Leg says, I am independent, I am other than the other leg and all other organs of the body. But from your point of view, all these eyes or different organs is not other than you, isn't it? Isn't it?
Good example.
Now you take that example, look at it like this, and expand ad infinitum. Similarly, all these people in the world are saying I, but they are only your expressions. See, here one thing is required to be done. First, you have to take this stand that all this is my glory. You can't take the position, but well, you have been taking this position, but it has not worked. What was the position? That I am a part of this creation. I am a product of this creation. If you take that position, no growth is possible. The vision will never get inverted, transformed. We have to take the position that this whole thing is the glory of that divine, understand that, and then understand and come to experience that divine is nothing other than the self that I am, the conscious principle. And this requires, you have to feel, you have to have faith in this, you have to contemplate on this, in spite of the hunger coming or the pains coming or, in spite of the waking dream and deep sleep, you have to keep coming back to this principle. Therefore, before we see the presence of consciousness in the idol of the Lord, we should be able to appreciate the presence of consciousness in every being. So true. We want to go and see divinity in an idol, but we are not ready to see divinity in a human being, or in an animal, or in an insect, or in a spider. With no thought, we just, cockroach is gone, spider is gone. Without any thinking, we are ready to ridicule and insult our fellow beings. Isn't it? But whom are you insulting? Yourself. You are not insulting anyone else. You are insulting yourself. Because there is nothing other than the self. Differences are established only when the attention is only on the container of the consciousness and not the consciousness itself. Whenever our attention is only on the container, what is the container? Here, the body. Where is our attention? On the form. See? And therefore, today this point I did not cover in the meditation, but you can think, you must have thought about it before also. When we are asked, contemplate on the mind, think about the mind, observe the mind, we tend to observe the thoughts. And therefore in meditation I talked about the different types of thoughts. Then where should be our attention? If our attention should not be on the thoughts, we have to, at that time when we are looking at the thoughts, our attention should be, these thoughts are coming and going, they are coming one after the other. Where are they coming and going?
Consciousness.
Yeah, but what is that material? There must be some foundation, there must be some substratum, there must be some platform on which the thoughts are coming and going. A river cannot just flow in thin air. There must be a river bed, isn't it? Ocean cannot just exist by itself. It must have the ocean bed. Then where is this river of thoughts going on in my mind? What is the bed? What is the base on which these thoughts are coming and going?
It has to be consciousness.
Yes, yes.
Sure,
But that is where our attention must be. Not just thinking. You have to be there. If you say it is consciousness, you have already you have studied it, you have known it indirectly. You have to know it directly. See? So when we wean our attention away from the thoughts and put our attention on, when we are told observe the mind, instead of observing the thoughts, you observe the base on which the thoughts are coming and going. Then your attention is on the container. But the mind, does it have any boundaries? No. Is it a material? Is it a material in which all the contents called thoughts are existing? It is not a material also. Is it empty space? Mental space or empty space? They say something like that. Some text, it is given that way. But the more we come, as you just now said, that it is the consciousness itself on which the waves of thoughts are coming and going. When our attention is on that, and how do you catch it? You can't observe anything when you are looking at your thoughts. You can't observe.
Who can observe it when you are that?
Exactly. And yet observation is going on.
Yes, but only from back in where the consciousness is, you can only...
But that's what you are.
Yeah.
You are the consciousness,
Yeah, but
isn't
when
it?
my attention goes to something else, I've asked you this before, this
Ah.
attention is me, I said once.
Absolutely.
And, well then why does the attention or consciousness that I am identify with that out there? Is that not ignorance or is it...
No, it is not, because of our obsession with form.
It's not ignorance. Well,
From Jnaneshwar Maharaj's point of view, yes, at one level of understanding, till where we have come to now, after coming to Amrutanubhava, we cannot call it ignorance. After we have come to 7th chapter of Amrutanubhava, we cannot call it ignorance. We may use the word ignorance, but we know that it is my glory itself. It is just a way of expression in order to bring semblance to the whole, the sequence.
And as we are attempting to witness the thoughts, I find that the interest in the thoughts go. You're not interested in them. They're just flowing there. You're not involved
If
in
you
them.
are attentive on the thoughts, it may happen that you are not interested in them.
And they
But
just
some
go.
thought will come and demand your attention. If it is so powerful, you will not be able to resist. So, rather than focus on the thoughts, focus on the material or the base or the foundation on which these thoughts are coming and going. And where is that foundation? That foundation cannot be other than you. Mind is not something just like, the conscious principle will leave and this body will die. This is our concept right now, isn't it?
I can't see
Actually speaking, it is not like that. Because you feel you are a part of this creation, that you are a product of this creation, so you have created and you observe out there that, that is born, he is dead. But birth and death are both just a play in the consciousness. According to science also, mass is not destroyed, energy is not lost. When mass is destroyed, it gets converted into energy, and when energy itself freezes to become the mass again. So really speaking, in this creation, nothing is lost and nothing is created. It is as it is. Yeah, that E is equal to mc square of Einstein, this is what it proves. That there is no addition or subtraction possible in this entire creation.
Because it's all full.
It is all full,
Yes,
but he has not come to the point of what it is full with. See? Or what it is expression of, or what is that fullness. He has not come to that. But here we are, when you see this mind or this creation, so there is no loss. People talk about dementia and Alzheimer's and loss of memory, this, that. There is nothing like that. We are creating a problem for ourselves by thinking in that manner. Because our attention is not on the conscious principle. Whenever our attention is on the form, our mind will get disturbed. When our attention is on the essence of that form, that is the conscious principle.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Don't worry.
it'll come.
If it doesn't come, better. Differences are established only when the attention is only on the container of the consciousness and not on the consciousness itself. So today's meditation was also this. See, when you are contemplating on a form, a thought is of a form. It has a beginning and it has an end, isn't it? So when you are putting the attention on the thoughts, differences will be important. But when your attention is on the mind, that substratum on which the thoughts are coming and going, that itself is the conscious principle. Automatically all the forms will merge. See? And that is what is, when our today's meditation was also tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. When our attention is on the conscious principle, all differences as if merge back into their source. Just like when your attention is on the deep sleep, all the differences merge back into their, become unmanifest, isn't it? Here in the just before he said, you have to go into deep sleep while waking. You have to go into deep sleep while waking. Then what will happen? All the differences will merge and you are still awake. Where will they merge? In deep sleep, they merge into deep sleep. But when you are awake, where will they all merge? They'll merge back into the pure consciousness that you are. See? That kind of knowledge is no knowledge. It is only an illusion of knowledge. It falls in the category of aparavidya. Aparavidya means anything that is, apara means lower knowledge. Vidya means knowledge, lower knowledge. Any knowledge that is taking the support of thoughts is lower knowledge. Another word for it is paroksha jnanam. Paroksha means indirect experience. So paravidya or aparoksha jnanam, that means direct experience. Direct experience is what? An experienceless experience. That is what direct experience is.
Why is it apara and aparoksha? The apara vidya.
नहीं, वहाँ पे apara is just apara, means lower. But there it is para apara. Para means that which is beyond, and apara is lower, higher and lower. Para is transcendental. Apara is not transcendental, lower.
So paroksha jnana is good.
So paroksha, then now here the word is different. To that para, aksha is added, seeing. So paroksha means that which is indirectly seen. Indirectly seen. And aparoksha means which is directly seen. But then to that para the word aksha is added, no? True knowledge is that where one is very clear that all experiences from all points come from me alone, and I is the substratum supporting all experiences. This is the way to transcend the limitations of all experiences. See how beautifully Swamiji has said this point. True knowledge. So, what is paragyan? What is transcendental knowledge? What is that knowledge which is a thought-free knowledge? Where one is very clear that all the experiences from all points come from me alone, the I, the consciousness. See, that is the source. So start thinking that this entire universe has come from where? It has come from me. How? Start proving it now. When we are in school and we are given mathematical sums or geometrical sums, answer is not given. You are given a problem. Now you have to solve. So now this is the equation given to you that everything starts from the self that you are. Now solve it. Start thinking in such a way that you come to that conclusion. Don't try to find reasons and excuses how it is not possible.
Is it possible to grow into these sort of? Doesn't
Absolutely,
all have-
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
it doesn't all have
Just
to be
like
one
when we are,
bang, that
just like when we are doing the
Yeah.
solving the sum,
Yeah.
sometimes we make a mistake, sometimes the conclusion doesn't sit right,
Yeah.
sometimes we forget the middle steps, and it's trial and error, and eventually it clicks.
Mm.
So same thing here. So if this is so, our equation is that the entire creation is beginning from I. The mind is beginning from I, and in this mind, the thoughts of the entire world, which is known by way of thoughts, they are coming from the I alone, because mind is from the I. Mind is not other than the I. It seems it is separate, but actually speaking, it is the one which is appearing as two. Remember that one pure consciousness as if appearing as I thought and that thought? It's as if. It's like you are one, but as if appearing as the mother, daughter, sister, etc.
What do they mean by the illusion then?
There's no illusion.
I didn't think there was.
Get out of that now. We are not. That is what he is trying to disqualify. Don't get into that. That illusion will appear only if your attention is on the container. If your attention is on the form, immediately you are caught up by the illusion. And you get deluded. And you get deluded. When our attention is on the conscious principle, illusion cannot even touch you. Delusion cannot touch you. Delusion is of the mind which gives you the illusion of the world. And delusion is self-forgetfulness. Delusion is self-forgetfulness. Delusion is, I am a product of this world, which has come about because of self-forgetfulness. I don't know who I am. This is delusion. Arey, you idiot. You don't know. Then who's speaking if you don't know who you are? And in this way, now Jnaneshwar Maharaj is making fun of the person who keeps insisting that the pure self is ignorance. He says, Apurva Jnanakshari Vasata Jnanachi Dhori Shabdarthachi Ujari Apurva Naveki. Is it not the wonder of wonders to call this extraordinary glory of the pure consciousness as ignorance? The word jnana prefixed with an upasarga, a, becomes ajnana, which means ignorance. Hence, it is the glory of the knowledge and not that of ignorance. This being so, is it not a wonder of wonders to call this foundation base knowledge, jnana, by the word ignorance, ajnana? So, how has the word ajnana come? The root word is jnana. Jnana means knowledge. To that we have added a prefix called a. See? To that we have added a prefix a. But because we have added a, ajnan doesn't become the root word. Ajnan is the product, is a new word which has been formed by the addition of a prefix a to the root word called jnana. So, is agyan means ignorance, gyan means knowledge. So, knowledge is more important or agyan is more important? What is the base? So, how can you say the whole creation is come out of ignorance? How can you say that? Because ignorance itself has come out of knowledge. How can you say darkness is? Without light, darkness cannot be. Isn't it? So, what is the source? Light. See? So, here Swamiji says, it is indeed a wonder of wonders that the glory of the pure consciousness is being sung by the word ignorance. It is indeed a wonder of wonders that the glory of the pure consciousness is being sung by the word ignorance. Meaning what? Did you understand? That the glory of pure consciousness is being sung by the word ignorance. It can be taken two ways. Expression of, the way we have seen, under the purview of ignorance is speech. Ignorance is expressing as thoughts. And right now we are using thoughts and speech and words to glorify pure consciousness, which is also a word, isn't it? That is what is meant here. That the glory of pure consciousness is being sung by the ignorance. Is it possible? But this is the wonder. That the mind is ignorant, mind can never come to know the truth. It is limited, it is conditioned, it is incomplete. Well, it is complete in its essence, but it doesn't know that. And this mind is singing the glory of pure consciousness. Is it not a unique, strange way of using the word ignorance to denote knowledge? One may say that the world is the result of ignorance, but in reality, the world is the glory of the Paramatma, the pure consciousness. So, different approaches we have taken, and in Vedanta, if you take Panchadashi or so many texts we have seen, there we say that the world is an expression, result of ignorance, but actually speaking, it is the expression of the reality itself. Nothing. On one hand, we say ignorance, because of ignorance the world has come about. And yet in the same text we will see that the pure consciousness or the reality is all pervading, it is one without a second, nothing else other than it exists. How do you sort this contradiction out? This has clicked to Jnaneshwar Maharaj. and therefore he is telling us. The manifold manifestations of being is my vibhuti, my glory. This comes in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Vibhuti is manifestations, specific manifestations. In 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is telling Arjuna, when Arjuna says, I want to see how do I catch you in this world. He says, among the Himalayas, among the mountains I am the Himalayas, among the rivers I am the Ganga, among the trees I am the Ashwatha tree, among the men I am Arjuna. And this way 70, 72 examples he gives to Arjuna. See? That this is how you can catch me in the world. So the whole world is not a product of ignorance. It will keep you in the duality if you take it that way. We have to take the world as a vibhuti, as an expression, as a manifestation of that divine. When you look at the world, very difficult to see divinity. And therefore it is told, come to the self. See that just like the sun's rays are illuminating everything, see that this whole world is illumined by the I that I am. It is and slowly, the more you focus on this I, you won't even say that the I is illuminating this whole world. It will dawn that this entire world is nothing but the I alone. In the Panchajashi, chapter 3, verse 31, while dealing with the Panchakosha Viveka, it is said that what remains after denying all the 5 koshas, the sheaths, one by one, is nothing. This nothing is the self. It is only a difference in the use of language. Whether you call it Ajnana, Atma, or one without a second, truth alone is meant. Therefore, there is no need or point in arguing with anyone about the use of words. Whatever be the word used, I is the same pure self everywhere. There is no place that this I is not. Why do we say that there is no place? Because time, space and objectivity, which seem to be conditionings. I am a product of time. I am going to die in time. Time is going to take me away. But take what away? Take the body away. So this time, space and objectivity are nothing but expressions of that I alone. Therefore you see in the Bhakti Shastra, Narayana, the supreme pure consciousness, he is sleeping on the Sheshanag, he is sleeping on the huge snake. And that snake has 1,000 hoods. And that snake represents time. It is his expression only. See? And where is the snake? The snake is floating on the Milky Ocean. That Milky Ocean is the mind.
Space.
The mind. See? But because Lord Narayana is there and the 1,000-headed Shesha is there and the Milky Ocean is there, does that mean that the Narayana has become many? No, he is one. It is his own vibhuti, his own manifestation, his own expression. Because in the space we have created so many houses and we have put a value on each house space. $500,000, $1 million. From space point of view, nothing like that, isn't it? But where is your attention? On the walls. Your attention is not on the space. Your attention is on the walls. Similarly, when our attention is on the form, we remain a slave of this world. When our attention is on the conscious principle, we become the master of this world. Why? Because coming to abide in the self as the self we come to this, it is a direct experience, aparoksha anubhuti, that the whole world is not other than the self, that I am. This transformation will come about. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Pramadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.